care for people in a case of a disaster. Okay, that makes sense. I just, plucking a private citizen out, and again, we used to have a civil service, civil defense director, but,
I don't have so much a problem with his
Okay, yeah, Ray,
recommendation. I'm just trying to understand
yeah.
what it's for.
It's for disaster preparedness. It's having a person that's there, that if we have an incident, God knows what that incident could be, that we've got a person who accepts responsibility for implementing the emergency management.
Who devises the plan? This committee?
Well, the state office, Mass Emergency Management Agency, produces a boilerplate plan where the town needs to, so to speak, fill in the details. So that plan already exists.
Okay, but that's a statewide plan or region, if something happens in the region. What if something happens here, like Bob had said?
Well, the
what happened north of us?
The protocols in that plan are the same regardless of whether the incident takes place in North Reading or North Adams. What facilities are used and what personnel are mobilized are different and unique in each town.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead, Joe, I'm sorry.
I'm probably going to go a little too deep with this question, but you know me, I'm going to ask it.
Fire away.
Yeah, this person is paid by the town, correct?
Yes.
Whatever the fee is.
Yes.
If this person gets injured while he's performing in his line of duty, does the town pick up this injury? I mean, I can see where if we had a town employee doing it, i.e. police chief, fire chief, et cetera, but if this gentleman should get injured, I mean, if he's going to a meeting and he gets in a car accident, are we on the dime for that?
Well, I mean, you're on the dime to the extent that you have to make him whole potentially for his small salary. But no more at risk than if the police or fire chief on a way to a meeting was injured wearing the hat of the civil defense director. You'd be stuck with a bigger ticket potentially in that situation.
Okay, so we wouldn't, so we wouldn't be liable for doctor's bills, et cetera, et cetera. Well, whereas a volunteer, you would not be. But when you're paid, do we now pick up that liability of injured while working for the town of North Reading for medical bills?
There's always the risk of workers. The person would fall under workers' compensation. They wouldn't fit under the 111F. So basically, if the person were to be injured on the job, performing their job duties, we'd have an obligation to pick up the person's workers' compensation costs, yes.
What's the fee?
I think it's like $1,800 a year.
Now, I'm not talking about the workers' comp. Would we be liable for doctor's bills where he's working for the town of North Reading, he or she?
Through workers' comp. Yes. Through comp. Comp would cover the doctor's bills.
It would cover the full doctor's bills? I'm not trying to trick you.
We have insurance, Joe. Whether they're going to cover every item that potentially could happen,
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, we do have broad range workers' comp insurance. We do pay a significant amount of money for it. So if the person were to be injured in the performance of his duties, the town would be covered. We wouldn't be going to town meeting and requesting funding to pay this guy, pay his bills.
Okay, that's what I was, and I was just trying to get that clear.
Sure.
I'm reluctant to have someone other than a town employee. But part of the reasons Joe brought up, thinking of other things too, but just coordination of things, authority issues. I understand that it takes time and resources to commit to it, but you know, that's part of the day and age we're in, and we have to adjust to the changing times. And me, to have one of our public safety and public health officials coordinating and pulling things together, rather than a volunteer. Still a volunteer, being held responsible for coordinating our town departments and our actions, coordinating those activities. That's just my...
I guess I'm not hung up on that issue so much as just trying to understand exactly what this job is. maybe under the, maybe if I read the law, you know.
I think, again, the responsibilities with the position originally dealt with natural disasters. Now the town has homeland security mandates that are on us. We do need to have the position, so we can't say we don't need a civil defense. We do need to have the position. We need to have someone there. We need to have someone who's going to be responsible for implementation of the emergency management plan in the event that there's a catastrophe.
And I guess, you know, this is where, if that's the job, it seems to me that our public safety departments are best qualified to do that. In fact, don't we have police officers that are part of some of this response? Don't a lot of the funds from Homeland Security come into the police and fire? They have all the communications. You know, so if this person was a person that works with them and the state to get a plan together, in other words, as part of an implementer, right? If that was the role, then I don't have any problem with it at all, right? But if the role is he's the authority to make it happen, he can't, you know?
Yeah, I'd rather have it vested in, even if it's not gonna be the chief, you know, have the deputy chief or the
Deputy.
lieutenant, you know, to assume the responsibility of putting it together, coordinating it, educating the rest of the public safety force, and again, it's under the umbrella.
I think that would be a mistake. That's opening a whole nother door to people being compensated at a regular hourly rate for
I'm
training.
sorry, it's part of the job and responsibilities as far as ensuring the public safety, as far as coordinating efforts in the time of catastrophe and disaster. I'm not paying anybody an additional stipend to do it. Assign them the task.
Sure.
You know?
I can just tell you, it's my judgment that we've had a system in place that's probably served the town pretty well. However, in terms of serving the future needs of the town, I do not feel that the current staff will put enough emphasis on the necessity for this position and the training that's involved with it, that it requires. And you know, you asked my opinion, that's my opinion. I think that the town would be best served by having a private citizen who has a interest in doing the best he possibly can in this little niche than having someone that's got a ton of other responsibilities, and this is job 252.
But these are the same people that are going to be responding immediately to whatever crisis presents itself. You know, to me, I'd rather have the coordination take place within the public safety sector and divisions to coordinate the thing, and not some kind-hearted, wonderful citizen who's volunteering and willing to do it.
Greg, does this come under a state statute, a state regulation? And if so, do you know the point is?
No, Sean, if I had envisioned that it would be this type of discussion, I probably would have been prepared. I could not have envisioned that we'd spend 15 minutes talking about the civil defense director.
Maybe just.
I certainly would ask to defer and get you the
Well,
information.
it's-
Why don't we do that?
And what is this gentleman's background too?
Sure.
Yeah, come back to us with a little better definition of what the responsibilities are. I think it'll be a lot easier to sort this out.
Yeah.
What else, Greg?
Apologize for not having that information. Let's go back to the script. Just going back to the report. I provided the board members with copies of the submittal that we made under the federal economic stimulus program. 16 projects, municipal and school projects. The total value of those was about $21 million. I've made a note that it remains to be seen whether any of these projects will ultimately be funded. However, what we do know is if we don't put in for them, they definitely will. So to speak, take an action.
And these all met the requirements that were laid out.
Requirements, must begin within 6 months and be completed within 18 months and 4 months. And you have a copy of a support letter that Representative Jones was kind enough to draft, indicating his support for our projects. And I do want to thank the town departments and the school department, because we did have very short notice, I think.
Yeah, ridiculously
the last
short
3.5
notice.
days to put this together. And
Great job getting
Came
it
together.
together in the short period of time that you had.
Came together pretty well.
That was great work.
Okay.
Number two, in your, enclosed in your packet is a notice that we received from the American Arbitration Association, or AAA, and it just indicates that the date for the hearing on the Ernest Henry demotion and suspension, which is a police officer, will now be on March 9th, 11th, and 12th, and if necessary for a fourth session on April 22nd. The original hearing dates were changed at the request of the union's attorney. He had a conflict with a trial. I just did want to mention, though, that with a case such as this, that there would normally be briefs submitted by the attorneys, and typically there's 30 days that's allowed to put their briefs together. There's another period of time for the arbitrator to review that. It's not unreasonable to expect a decision 60 days after the arbitration hearing is closed. If we were to go till April 27th, April 22nd, count out 60 days, it brings us till sometime in June. Yeah, I think everyone is frustrated by the calendar, but we can't really control it. And that's why I just wanted you to be aware of the fact that that issue is out there and it's going on. And we will certainly stick to the dates that are here and anticipate that the hearings will be held on those dates. Number three, I just wanted to note to the board that a notice has been sent to all of our labor unions, school and municipal unions, or a total of 12. The notice was sent proposing a change to the town's health insurance program for this fiscal year. And as we have discussed previously, the town has been working to try to provide a more cost-effective office visit and emergency room co-payment structure. And that's what this proposal involves, is to take the office visits from $5 to $15, take the emergency room from $25 to $50. Those are fairly low increases. The resulting savings would be approximately 7%, 7% to the town, 7% to the town of the total health insurance budget in excess of $4 million is about $20,000 per month. And to the employees, for each employee who's enrolled in the family plan, there'd be a monthly savings of $31, and for each employee who's enrolled in the individual plan, be a savings of about $12. So both parties would benefit by a savings through this program. It's really motivated by the fact that we need to do something creative to look at the budget for fiscal year 2009. We've talked about state aid being cut. This is an opportunity that with very little pain, as a matter of fact with no pain, provides for a reasonable solution to help us try to have our budget in balance for fiscal year 2009. I do want to thank our non-union employees, which consists of our department head and other employees who are in municipal departments. They did notify me that they have no opposition to the changes, and they understand the necessity given the economic conditions. I've also received notification from several of our labor organizations, and they've expressed an interest in bargaining on the issue. Next steps are we will have a meeting with the Insurance Advisory Committee, and it will take place in early February. And then Insurance Advisory Committee is charged with providing you with a non-binding recommendation. And then after that meeting, I will meet with the board and we will discuss specific actions as a result of that recommendation that comes from the Insurance Advisory Committee. So that is the health insurance proposal. I think we've been talking about this issue for a long time, and I'm hopeful that we will achieve the support of our employees based upon their understanding of the economic situation in the town's finances.
Next, comments? Questions?
No, not right now.
Yes, sir.
On the savings to the employees,
Yes.
was that off premiums?
Yes, it will lower the premiums by that amount.